Kansas at Texas this Saturday, 3:30 Eastern kickoff, 2:30 local time. It's on ABC. It's a situational special here because the number is Texas minus 16.5. So why are we breaking this game down? Well, situations are as follows. Texas rolled Baylor last week. They're feeling really good about themselves. Number two, they've got Oklahoma on deck, and all eyes are on that game. And meanwhile, here comes Kansas with the most returning production in the country, undefeated, just kind of tiptoeing into Austin. Everyone remembers 2 years ago, they came in there and they upset Texas. But what I remember is this game also happened last year, but no one's talking about last year's game. And the reason is because Texas splattered Kansas all over their own building, 55-14. So how do we prevent that from happening again? How could the upset happen here? What needs to change from last year to this year? Well, number one, Kansas needs to run the ball. They're 13th in FBS in running right now. That's great. Problem being, Texas doesn't let anyone run on them. They're giving up less than 90 rushing yards per game. So it's a top 20 rushing offense against a top 20 rushing defense. I think the edge goes to Texas here. And if I'm right about that, that means we got to have a Superman spot here. We got to have a Superman Saturday for Jalen Daniels. Because if we don't, if that quarterback for Kansas does not go off, the blue chip ratio is ugly. The blue chip ratio, and that just means the total 4- and 5-star players on each roster, Texas 56, Kansas 6. So you've got to have your quarterback go off. He's got to throw it. He's got to run it. He's got to extend plays. He's got to make those wow plays. And if he's going to pick one Saturday to do it disproportionately, this is it. They need to force turnovers. Thing about Quinn Ewers is he's been pretty good for Texas this year. 12 touchdowns. More importantly, no interceptions. So they've got to force a couple of turnovers. They got to catch Texas sleepwalking. They've got to play with their hair on fire. And they've also got to flip the script in the second half. Texas... And how welcome is this statement if you're a Longhorn fan? Texas has been a second-half team this year. They're outscoring opponents 73-28 in second halves. And that's after a couple of years of folks saying, don't worry, just keep it close at halftime. We'll overtake them in the second half. Texas sucks. Sark can't get it done in the second half. In the words of Steve Sarkisian, you are what you're intentional about. That's what he said after they beat Alabama. They've been intentional about owning the second half in these games, and all of a sudden, voila, they're a second-half team. Colin, let's take a look at what the odds makers think. Let's compare that to what the model thinks. Vegas has Texas minus 16.5, and I've got to be honest with you, just like the Tennessee game, we're fatter on Texas than Vegas is. The model's got Texas minus 20. I am going to be bold here. I'm not betting money on this game, but I am going to be bold, and I'm actually going to say Texas wins it and covers. I don't think they're going to look ahead. I think even if they do, they can make up ground in the second half. I think Texas wins it. I think Texas covers. And then I think all eyes shift to Dallas, Texas, Cotton Bowl, 11 a.m. local time next Saturday. Red River Shootout. Even I'm talking about it. Even I'm looking ahead. But I can look ahead because I don't have to play the games.